Guys, I'm back down again. Snoop's at the back door. Look, he's asking to go out. So let's just let Snoopy out. You ready to go? Are you going up the garden set? Go on in. Off you go. Go on in. Good boys. Oh. Right. Where should we start? We'll start with my sandwiches. Sandwiches, I will do some apple pies as well, but I've also got to do the washing. So let's get this ball rolling and I'll tell you what happened at work today. Right, turn the other lights on, get my breadboard out, and we will start at the beginning. So I got to work as normal this morning, nothing spectacular. Traffic was pretty normal. Start work in the morning, I was on my first job and I got a ping come through on my phone, a message had come through on my phone and it pinged. So I picked my phone up to have a look and it's my landlord, or to be precise, it's my landlord's manager. And he says, hi, my boy name, I'd like to do a property inspection on the 1st, Monday the 1st at 9 or 4:30, whichever would suit. Let me know what you can do. So I thought, right. Now, when I first got this rental property, my manager had said to me, the landlord's manager had said to me, we do 4 site visits a year. So every 3 months we come round and check the property. So I said, okay. I said, but you will need to let me know before you come up. I said, because I'm not always there. He said, that's okay, we've got a key, we can let ourselves in. And I did put this on another video and everyone went, whoa, no, they can't do that. They have to have your permission to come in, they can't just turn up. Anyway, so he's finally got in touch with me. I have had a word with him. I had a word with him about Easter time, because that was when I moved in a year before. And I got in touch with him and I said, have I got, because he said my tenancy agreement was a 12-month contract. And so I got in touch with him when the 12 months was up. I said, the 12 months is up, do I have to re-sign something? He said, no, he said, it's a rolling contract, just carry on as you are. So this is the first time I've heard from my landlord's manager since April. That's when he got in touch with me. So this is the first time he's been in touch with me since then. Now, what I said to him was, you can come anytime you like. I said, but I won't be there. I said, you'll have to let yourself in with your own keys. I said, but I'll be at work, I'll be at Cambridge. So I said, but I do need to tell you something else. I said, because I've changed my name. I've changed my name by Depol. And so we might have to amend your records. So he goes, right, okay. He said, yes, we'll have to change the details. What's your new name? So I said, it's Miss April, and then I told him my surname. And he went, right, okay. And to that, I attached a picture. It's quite a raunchy one of a black top with quite a bit of cleavage. Full regalia, I looked good. I sent him that picture attached to that. And so he went, looking good. He said, we will have to update your tenancy agreement. I will need your signature. He said, so we're going to have to get together. It's not a date, all right. He said, we're going to have to get together and sort that out. And I said, okay. And I said, also, while we're talking or messaging each other, I said, I've got a girlfriend who's moved in with me. Do I need to do anything with you as regards to the agreement, the tenancy agreement? Does she have to go on that? He said, no, he said, doesn't have any effect. He said, it's just your signature we need. He said, let me know when you're next available. He said, and we'll get that signature sorted out. So I was chuckling away. I was chuckling. I couldn't stop chuckling. It was the picture. I could have done anything. I could have sent any picture. Hang on, Sooty is stupid. Just come in, look. Hang on, let me just shut that door. So, yeah, I could have sent him any picture, but I thought, no, I'll just do it. You know, at the end of the day, now he must know already about April. Now, the reason I say this is because he always comes up on my WhatsApp, and he has messaged me through WhatsApp before, and it's got me as April on my WhatsApp site. I'm named as April. I've got my picture on there, and I can't see that he hasn't put 2 and 2 together already. But he didn't say anything. Snoop's sat here. No, go away. Go on, you're not having any of this. No, you have the apple pies in a minute. So I think he knew already, but he was just playing it cool, I think. Also, when I first got this property, I went to see 2 properties. This was the second one of the 2. And I said this was the property I'd like out of the 2. And he said, okay. He said, I'll need a reference. He said, I'll need to know where you work. I said, yeah, that's fine. I said, I told him where I worked, and he went, oh, okay. And he said, I know somebody who works for them. And I didn't think any more of it. When he said that, everybody says, oh, I knew somebody worked there, or I worked there when I was younger. He said, I know somebody worked there. And I didn't worry about it. I said, okay. I said, I'll get your reference. What I didn't realise was he then phoned up the person who he knew, who was still working at my garage, and mentioned me, and they actually gave me a reference. It was one of the managers, or no, it wasn't a manager, it was a director. He phoned up the director because he knew him. He worked with him years ago, and he knew him really well. And the director was actually his best man at his wedding. They say it's a small world. And my director actually gave him a reference over the phone for me. So when it was about 2 days later, I went to see that director to ask if he'd do me a letter so I could pass it to my my landlord. He said, oh no, he said, I've already done it. I did it over the phone. He said, I know the manager. He said, I used to work with him. He told me all about him. So yeah, it's funny how things get about. Now, at that time, when I first got this property, I was still at work as my boy self, and I hadn't been outed at work. I was working over at Colchester at the time. Let's go. And the director who was working at the garage only knew me as my male self at the time. He didn't know anything about my other side. And it wasn't until he'd done the reference and I got outed that it all came to light. Now, I'm not sure whether he got in touch with his mate and told him, or whether he's only just found out. I don't honestly know. But it was going to happen anyway. I never back away from things like this, because I'm not hiding who I am. You know, everybody knows who I am. I am April 24/7, guys. And the only one person who doesn't know about this is my friend Peter. And I've told you all before about this, and there's no way I'm going to tell Peter because of Peter's age and something that happened years ago. I'm not going to say anything. And so Peter's the only person who doesn't know about April. Somebody said to me, are you sure he doesn't know? I'm positive he doesn't know. Absolutely positive. So yeah, that's what happened today. So my landlord is coming to do a site inspection on the 1st of next month. So that means this coming weekend, I'm going to be really busy. I'm going to have to tidy everything up and make it look really nice and tidy and neat. So yeah, the boys will have to be in the kennel at the top of the garden. Now, when I first got the property, I did ask, I said, is it okay if I have a garden shed? They said, you do what you like in the garden. We're not worried about the garden. You can do what you like in the garden. They said, it's the house we're interested in. So they've got a front door key, so they can come in straight. That's no problem. But they haven't actually got a back door key, because I changed the lock on the back door because the back door lock went wrong. I've still got the old one, and I could put it back in, but I'm not going to. There's no point. I'm going to leave it as it is. He's got a front door key, so he can come in, he can have a look round. If he wants to go out the back, he'll have to go round, unless he finds the key. If I leave the key in the door, he can always get out, but I'm not going to stop him from looking anywhere, and I think it would be better that I'm not here, and he can just have a wander around, see what he wants to see and go. There's nothing here. I haven't done anything to the property in any way to devalue it. I've put extra things in. I've put shelving up, I've got pictures up, I've changed a couple of the lights for new lights. I've done things like that, but I haven't decorated, I haven't put carpets down, things like that. I am toying with that idea, but not at the moment. So he did say I could do that as well. When he said to me, if you want to decorate, you can decorate. He said, but I'd like you to, if you do decorate, keep it in neutral colours. Don't do anything really bright and bold, neutral colours. And when I moved in here, everything had been whitewashed. Everything's white emulsion. All the walls are white emulsion, the ceilings, everything is. So I think what they did before I came in is they came in and they just whitewashed the whole place out again, and then off they went. So anyway, that's what happened today. My landlord's manager is going to come and inspect my property. So I'm going to have a busy weekend getting everything ready. But it doesn't matter. That's better. Right, so the sandwiches are done. If I just wrap these up, I've got through another one of my Branstons, so I'll wash that up later. I've got a sandwich bag, I think. Look at that, I've always got a sandwich bag somewhere. Good boys. So that's it. I haven't heard from anybody else. My sister, my eldest sister messaged me earlier. I was out shopping and I got a ping from my eldest sister. That was when I was in Bury, saying she'd heard that Skippy had gone to Australia. And I just acknowledged that later on when I got home. I didn't do it at the time because I was just too busy shopping. I knew it had pinged, but I knew it wasn't going to be Skippy because she was on a plane. So yes, it was my sister. Right, so that goes in there. Right, sandwiches are done. I've got a couple of my little chocolate muffins in the last two, but I did buy another box today. So and what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to have my apple pies next. And then after I've had my apple pies and eaten them, I can wash that bowl up. I've got a couple of plates, I've got some cups, things like that. I'm going to wash all that lot up. So we can do a wash up and then I'll put the boys to bed. That's how I'm going to work it tonight. So that one's finished. Let me just pop this in the recycle bin. Right, that's done. Pop this one away, guys. That goes there, that goes there. Custard, and I'm going to have my apple pies in a second. Might need that one as well. Bowls over here. That's that. Snoop's hovering. He knows he's going to get the apple pies now. Here they are. Here they are, guys. You know there's always apple pies in my cupboard. That Mars bars. That's something else I've got. And I tend to buy, I'll show you, I've still got them in the fridge. And I don't know if you guys have tried this. And when I was I was a schoolboy when I came across these. And it's a bar of chocolate and it was called Old Jamaican. It was a different wrap back then, but it was absolutely gorgeous. It's rum and raisin, dark chocolate. And I got hooked on it when I was a youngster. And you can still buy them now. Can you see that down there? The Old Jamaican. It's really nice. And I tend to buy maybe 3 or 4 of these. And I'll put them in the fridge. And then I'll break them up onto something like a dish. Put the dish in the fridge. And then whenever I go to the fridge, I can just take one bit. And just eat one bit. It's beautiful. And it's a real treat. And I've got 2 bars in there at the moment. And like I said, I usually buy in bulk. I usually buy maybe about 4 bars, keep them in there. And on a special occasion, I'll get a bar out, break it up. Myself and Skippy have sat down and eat. You can eat these. You can just sit here and eat the whole thing. They're very Moorish. Really, really nice. But if you've never tried it, you can get these in Iceland. That's where I find these ones. And that's what you're looking for. Okay? So take a picture of it, freeze frame it, and go buy one and try it and tell me what you think. They are really nice. Right, I'm going to put it back in the fridge. Right, Right, apple pies. We're getting sidelined here, guys. Right, well, this is what the boys have been waiting for. Snoop's drooling. Oh, Snooposaurus, what have I got here? Oh, you're so good. Right, that's one. Right, this one's for you, Sooty. Snoop's taken up the position on the carpet, I think, behind me. Yes, Sooty will go there as well in a second. Right, okay, guys. Right, if I move the camera a bit so you can see the boys a little bit better. There you go. Right, are you ready for this, boys? Go and sit down. Come on over here. Snoop, over here. Right, sit down, sit. Good boy, stay. And yes. Right, the boys have got their crusts. There you go. They'll make short work of those, or Snoop will. Sooty takes a little bit long, but Snoop finishes really quick. Right, guys, let me get this finished now then. So we've got Terrible Tuesday tomorrow. What have I got on my ramp? I haven't got anything on my ramp. I cleared my last job probably about 15 minutes before the end of the day. So that worked really well. So I'll be ready for a fresh intake of work tomorrow. I hope it'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow. Because it was a little bit fresh at work this morning. But I was fortunate, I did have my fleece on. I did keep my fleece on up to probably about 11, 12 o'clock time before I took it off. And that one. There you go. It goes in there. Right, that's my apple pies ready. Sorry, Snoop. I'll just nuke those. Right, apple pies are on. Okay, there, it's there. It's got to be washed up. Just need my cling film, guys, to wrap up my cakes. Right, so please, Snoopers. Right, Sooty, I think it's. Oh no, Sooty's finished as well. So I've just got to wrap these little mini muffins up. And then hopefully my apple pies will be done. Right, they're done. Okay guys, I think we're nearly there. 20 seconds. And then we can go in the front room. And like I said, I'll come out and do the washing afterwards, once I've finished my apple pies. Myself, please, Snoop. All done. Right. I'm going to sign out now, guys, because I can't carry that and the camera. And I shall sit in the front room, eat those, and then the next video I will do will be the washing up one, and then I'll put the boys to bed, then it'll be bedtime for me. So I'm going to sign out now. Love you all to death, and I shall speak to you later. Okay, bye-bye.